Hey Rangers, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Beast Morphers episode, which is Goin Ape, which is apparently episode 15. Now, before we begin this video, if you want to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as a cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Also, this video will contain spoilers, as this is out in the UK first. So again, spoiler warning, but let's just jump straight into it. This entire episode, I think, was meant to kind of be Ravi's plot development, his character development, should I say. And it was actually quite an enjoyable episode because there was quite a lot of fighting, which to me was something that I think that isn't lacking, but it was more driven, focused on like the kind of fight scenes in this one, mainly against Ravi versus Roxy. And I don't know how to kind of open this because when watching it, I felt like there was a lot of kind of trust issues between Roxy and Ravi. I think in the previous episode, I did mention that there was going to be a problem with Ravi and Roxy, and I generally thought it was going to be Roxy that was going to kind of come in and kind of like mess them about a little bit, as we've seen previously in other episodes. But for this one, it's all about Ravi and Roxy having an anniversary. And one thing that annoys me is, like, Ravi, at the very beginning of this episode, it has met an elderly woman called Stacy, and he shows a painting of him and Roxy together, and Stacy really likes this, and she's like, wow, you're an amazing artist. But Ravi then has to run off because to meet her, but then forgets the painting. Now, I can understand if he'd been sitting there for like maybe half an hour or something like that, and then all of a sudden he forgets it. But for me on this one, it felt like that, you know, he could have picked it up, and I'm guessing it's mainly due to the kind of the plot development of this episode. But it felt to me like he was very forgetful of the one main thing. And if you're like in any relationship with presidents and stuff like that, you make sure that you have it before you leave. So it kind of felt a bit Now, also, maybe this is where Ravi and Roxy met for the first time. They have their kind of anniversary in the gym. And I generally didn't think that they would. I thought that they would go to a really nice place, but it was just the gym. So maybe that was, hey, look at this place, and this is the first time that we're doing it. And I don't know, just to me, it felt like this entire episode Roxy didn't trust Ravi whatsoever. And you think that if you've been with him for such a long time, you would trust him. I think that when you have this sort of mentality of having like a massive fight and little things like that, it got to me because you generally think that Ravi and Roxy would be very strong. Roxy would trust Ravi. But on this side, when Ravi doesn't tell Roxy whatsoever about Stacy and who she is, it just felt like Ravi, like this whole thing could have been easily sorted and gone, Roxy, I'm really sorry. I left my painting on a bus. There's a woman called Stacy who's going to be bringing it for me. It'll be much later on today. You know, really, really sorry. Rather than Ravi turning around going, oh, you know, how dare you not trust me? How dare you go through my phone? How dare you do this? How dare you do that? And I think with this sort of premise, we've seen it a lot in most relationships. You know, text messages come through, person wants to find out who it is, person gets jealous or kind of goes, eh. Now, again, Ravi could just have explained this, but then I think Roxy going through his phone and finding out and getting like jumping to conclusions straight away, I think that was a big no-no, and I think it could have easily have been like sorted, but then again, it wouldn't have been the premise of the episode. Now, for the rest of it, you do see Roxy or Roxy wanting to destroy the Blue Ranger, and we get quite a really lengthy fight between them when Ravi goes to the beach. And I like this. It felt like this is an ongoing thing, and I don't know if this is in Go Busters where we're going to say is it escape or is it enter, either one. We'll say their version of Roxy is going straight for like Ravi and stuff like that, or, you know, for the Go Buster Blue. So it'd be interesting to know if there is. If you know, please let me know down below in the comments. Now, the main majority of this fight is Ravi overheats. He completely just goes completely berserk. And it's nice to see that the powers like this kind of like kicks in, and it's more kind of like, hey, did you know that I'm overheating, I can't stop. It's also really cool to see like a ranger fight other rangers on their own team. I think that when you've had it explained to you, like, you're overheat, you're gonna think you're gonna go crazy. You think you'd be like, right, I'm gonna go into another room, I'm gonna just like get away from you guys for a little bit because I don't want this to kind of go over and like attack me and attack all the others, etc., etc. So it was generally really nice to see the fight scene, but the kind of deliverance after. And I think that if Ravi had just said, hey, look, I'm still angry because of Roxy and what she's done and rah, 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 that I think would be kind of interesting. One thing though is when they bring Roxy, the normal Roxy, into the lab later, I generally kind of thought that Smash should have known that Ravi was still angry, that he couldn't let it go. You know, it's not one of the things of like, hey, he wants to see you to kind of like, to talk about things. He's gonna be hot-headed. He's gonna be saying things that he wouldn't normally think or normally say. And it's just like all this emotion as well as like the DNA corruption. And that just kind of like adds to it. You just stop and be like, let him cool down. When Roxy finds out and actually meets Stacy, because they bring her in and say, hey, guess what? Like, you know, this is Stacy. She's returning the thing, returning the painting. I like the fact that Roxy was like, oh God, what have I done? You know, it was my fault that I didn't trust him. It was my fault that I've had a go at him for this. And I think seeing her kind of realize this was a nice opener and wasn't going to hold it over Ravi for a very long time. I really liked the fighting in the second half of this, where it's Ravi just not caring and just obliterating Robo Roxy and like just having this huge, massive fight over time. I think that Blaze is getting kind of jealous because I think in a way Roxy is a lot better than Blaze at this, because it seems like she's able to keep going with the attack, keep going with everything, rather than with Blaze, where he decides to have a little bit of a fight and then just decides to disappear, which is kind of really annoying. And I like the fact that he's still going after Devon. Devon's his main kind of one that he wants to go for and just kind of just obliterates and attacks all the time. I like the fighting. I really did in this one more than what we've seen originally. It felt kind of like natural. It flowed quite a lot. The only thing is I really wish that they would kind of fix the DNA thing, because you know, it's a major weakness. But the one we've not seen a lot is pretty much Devon's. Devon's has not been kind of used a lot. We've seen Zoe and Ravi all the time. At this very end of the episode, I generally like the fact that Ben and Betty wanted to help, and it felt like it could have gone on for like maybe another 5 to 10 minutes, but they wanted to help. But the kind of like, how do I say, like the emergency, like this kind of, this is important, we need to get Ravi back into the lab, you know, it's going crazy. I like that sort of everyone was worried, and that sort of emotion like came across, which was absolutely fine. And then pretty much at this very end of this episode, Ravi and Roxy kind of just really kind of like work it out, and they kind of make it up. And you kind of think this would have happened much earlier. And the fact is that maybe Robo Roxy was just, you know, playing it up and he just wanted to destroy her. This episode feels like it was a good episode. It felt like it pushed Ravi a little bit more. But then I would say that maybe if he gets angry enough, then, or he has an argument, if he overheats, it's not going to stop, and it's going to be a major kind of concern. So it feels like maybe his weakness or his like kind of like thing on this has evolved and it's become a lot different. So it's gone to the next stage. Or I kind of thought that at the end of this episode, he was going to say, oh my God, like it doesn't affect me anymore. And you know, his DNA and his body has kind of corrected that mistake. And he's like, wow, I didn't expect this at all. But to be fair, it was a really kind of nice episode. I do like the fact that they brought back Roxy. It feels like they've not utilized her well, and she's just a character that comes back. I know obviously she's in the cyber dimension as Robo Roxy, but I think that they could use Blaze and Roxy normally to kind of like bring in, like have them come around, stuff like that. But it was generally nice to see Roxy come in and actually be in this episode, and obviously seeing Robo Roxy is also really cool. So yeah, I am gonna leave it there. This episode to me was a good one. I feel like it showed more, but I do feel like some of these traits could have easily have been done at the very beginning of the series or at the very beginning of season 2 to kind of help it kind of progress. But it's also really nice to see how couples in the ranger world kind of can get jealous, they can get suspicious as well. I just kind of think they would have done it a little bit differently, but you know, it is what it is. So I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? Did you like this episode? Did you not? What are your kind of thoughts on it? Do you think that Roxy was right in what she did, or do you think it was wrong? And do you think that Ravi should have told Roxy everything from the start? Let me know down below in the comments. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. And if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as a cheeky notification bell. And I'll see you tomorrow for another review.